What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck here again, and we're going to be touching on the New Mexico and Texas floodings that have occurred almost back to back. I have some videos that I want to show, and then an article on FEMA deleting the Texas Camp Mystic from the flood map. Which, why would they do that? So before we get to it, I want you guys to make sure, if you see at the bottom of the screen, you are hitting like on the video and sharing this great content and subscribing. We're trying to hit a goal here in the LLC to have 50,000 supporters by July 31st. It is a tall ask. Lord knows I've been praying for it. And I am definitely going to do all that I can and put in the work to get to that goal. So if you're enjoying the content here, consider subscribing and becoming a member. We have exclusive content in the members only as well. Lawsuits and court filings that are not easy to find online, and they are available in the members only, and there is more to come. So make sure you guys are sharing the content, engage in the comments. Let me know your thoughts below on what you think of what's going on here. I've gotten a lot of feedback to cover the Texas flooding as well as the flooding in New Mexico. It's almost like an act of God, like he's trying to tell us that he's mad. And it's unfortunate because people's lives are being lost here. And the Camp Mystic, well over 100 girls so far have had their lives lost. These are children. And as a mom, it's just, I can't fathom what these parents are going through. I can't fathom it. I can't comprehend it. And I just pray that, that they are comforted and that we just have to pray for them. I can imagine how heartbreaking it is to know you lost a child at a camp because of a flooding. That still makes no sense to me, like from a physical sense. Did a dam break? I mean, what happened here? Because it's I did a YouTube short on that on the channel where it was just a matter of seconds. Water rising to 20 feet. And the first thing, this is when it first happened. And I had in the video, in the YouTube short, that I hope they were able to get people evacuated out. They did not. So these are the things that are just going on around the world, across the country. I reported on the Air India crash, plane crash, and updates. I've been touching base on that crash and the investigation here in the Lady Luck Club. And now we have, right in our own backyard here in Texas and in New Mexico with these the floodings that are going on, and they're happening within seconds, like in a blink of an eye. So we gotta rethink where we live in. I guess people have to start moving for just the sake of safety and precaution here. I don't even know how else to put this. It was so unreal watching that YouTube short and even creating that clip. I was just in awe of it. I said, how did no one get noticed on this? How no one saw this happening? There was no risk at all to something, whatever was holding back all that water. Just came out of nowhere to 20 feet. It's very mysterious. I'll tell you that. So we got a series of videos, and then I'm gonna pull up the article. Let's get to it.
Oh my God.
In Central Texas, Kerrville resident Rita Olson seemed to be in
Good
shock
Lord.
when a law enforcement officer knocked on her door around 6 a.m. Friday, telling her she needed to evacuate immediately.
The people here screaming are in the river right now. Let's get everybody out.
Olson says she's thankful to be alive. There have been multiple deaths reported in the area from the flooding caused by torrential rain.
There's still several people unaccounted for right now at this point, but we're working really hard.
This is when it first occurred.
A couple of day process, okay?
This video taken Friday morning showing the nearby Guadalupe River
God.
overflowing
Part
and
of that
moving
clip
very
I had.
fast. Over 500 people are out searching for missing
Still can't
people
believe
in
it.
Kirk County, Texas. Among the missing, a group of young
Still can't
campers.
believe
I
it.
want all of you to know we will do everything humanly possible 24/7, looking at every tree, turning over every rock, whatever it takes.
In San Angelo, Texas, heavy flooding partially submerged
Oh my
vehicles,
God.
houses, and the road. One person in that town clung to a utility pole while awaiting rescue. As rescue efforts are still underway across Texas, officials say they expect more fatalities to be reported.
We're currently still actively rescuing, so we are not quite into recovery mode yet. We are still actively trying to find those that are out and those that are needing assistance.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard
Ugh,
reporting.
yeah, that's part of the clip I caught. That was scary.
There's very few concrete pads that even remain.
Yeah, this is Jonathan Petramala. I subscribe to his channel. He has great coverage on what's going on here. So make sure you guys check out Jonathan Petramala. Petramala. I hope I got that right. Yeah. And give it a thumbs up on his videos. I have a couple that I just kind of want to touch on. They're not very long. And he's there. I mean, giving real-time updates. Some of his videos is better than the news. So I came across this when I was researching this information, and I saw this, and I wanted to show you all. This is someone that's out there, boots on the ground, that's capturing this information in real time and giving updates. So shout out to him, and make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy his content.
The RVs were swept away, the concrete was swept away. I mean, the little ground is scoured away.
It looks like a hurricane tore through Texas Hill Country.
Jesus.
But the storm had no name and no warning.
We realized that the water is rising really fast.
Car horns screamed as vehicles shorted out underwater.
We start banging on everybody's door, getting people out.
If you were lucky, someone banged on your door. If not, this is how you woke up.
Was this like a worst case scenario because it's the holiday?
Absolutely. They were full.
Oh my God.
Reservations missing. I have 6 people missing.
If you didn't get out on time and you were in an RV, this is unsurvivable. Look at this. This RV shredded, wrapped around the tree. There's another one there. And then you can see another one.
Oh my God.
This whole area was full of RVs, cabins. Everyone was here for the holiday weekend. This is a really popular area to celebrate the 4th of July. And it's gone.
No.
Everybody lost everything. There were some people that were able to get out, but only in their underwear.
Look at that.
With their dog, nothing else. Nothing else.
No time.
No time.
The forecast called for up to 6 inches of rain. Up to twice that fell. People went to bed believing that they'd wake up to fireworks, not flash floods.
I was expecting rain, but not a flood.
I slept through it.
It was the last night we didn't know anything. It was when we woke up this morning.
The thunder was crazy, and I couldn't sleep. So at 2:30,
Can we just take a moment to bless God that if you woke up, you woke up? Some people didn't wake up. This is scary. This is very scary. What was holding all that water back? I get that they said 6 to 12 inches of rain and they woke up to double that, but what was really holding all that water back? Where's the dam or the reservoir or whatever is supposed to be holding this water back? What was the condition of that? This is crazy.
started checking because it was just nonstop and it was hard rain.
Along the Guadalupe River, at least 18 summer camps sat directly in the flood's path. At one camp alone, officials say around 20 girls were unaccounted for. Parents and guardians lined up at a nearby elementary school, waiting to hear if their child's name would be called.
Some very emotional moments happening behind me. In the school bus are children who were at their overnight camps. So there's a lot of summer camps that are located right along the Guadalupe River. And so many of these parents had no idea if their children were okay or not. The river rapidly rising in the early morning
Kids
hours,
couldn't even wait to get off,
and sadly
reaching out.
taking numerous lives along the river. These kids being brought from their camps here to the elementary school to be reunited with friends and family.
We saw that it had flooded up here and just kind of didn't know, and the not knowing is the worst part. So both her and my son are real strong swimmers, so I wasn't real worried about them as far as
but this flood,
water, but,
you can be who was the fastest swimmer, the one that won all the medals here from the US. You could be that guy. I can't even think of his name because my brain is just fried right now thinking about how whatever dam was supposed to be holding back all this water somehow did not hold. But swimming abilities, just sometimes nature just wins. Whether you have the ability to swim and hold your own in a pool or even part of an ocean, the beach or something like that, that's one thing. This type of flash flooding where this water is the current is moving so fast with debris and so much force where it could wrap around metal, around trees multiple times. The babies are, please don't tell your children they can outswim that, because that's false. No, they can't. And I mean, look how tiny she is. Did y'all not see what happened with the RV? Can we go back to the photo of the RV? Look at that. The RV stood no chance. So this little bitty baby here, I don't think she would have been able to outswim that. Sorry. I just don't tell your kids that. Just help them understand when they should have a reverence and respect for nature and God, and just know, okay, this is a situation I'm not going to be able to outswim, and there needs to be other options explored on what to do, if anything. But prayer should be the first thing, because good grief.
Both her and my son are real strong swimmers, so I wasn't real worried about them as far as in the water. But water moving that fast is insane. That's all you can think about.
In the town of Hunt, the water hit harder. It took high-profile military vehicles just to reach the survivors, pulling up like lifeboats on wheels, soaked, shaken, and silent. The survivors climbed aboard, their lives reduced to whatever they could grab.
We get flash flood warnings on our phones all the time. It's like the Amber Alert, or you live in Texas, you don't really think much of it. And obviously we were wrong.
Oh my God.
This chilling video captures the river rising in real time, each lightning strike illuminating just how fast the water was climbing. Inside London's home, floodwater surged up the staircase, step by step, second by second, until escape was nearly impossible.
We got to the top floor, and it just kept rising and kept rising. And we were getting ready to go on the roof. Like I said, we had tied bed sheets together to bring ourselves to the top. And right before we climbed out, we realized that we were fine. Well, we realized we were fine because the water had obviously started to stop and go down, and fortunately, we were okay.
Terrifying. That's the only way you can describe
this
the
is
force
something else.
And fury of water. That is the Guadalupe River behind me. I'm in Kerrville, Texas, Texas Hill Country. This section right here was a part of this apartment complex. It was lifted off its foundation, carried about 100 feet away into the parking lot. The only thing that stopped it, these old oak trees.
Wow.
One girl
I like
who
this
had
guy's
just graduated
channel.
from college. She had just left for work around 5 this morning.
I'm sorry,
grumbling,
baby.
of
You're
course,
not gonna be
about
able to do
working
that
so
with
early and on a
clothes.
holiday. But that might have saved her life.
Honestly,
Oh my
I've been running
God.
every day, and I would record like that little bridge, and every time I would get it in the clip, it was dry. Like there was barely any water, so I was never expecting it to hit this high up. At most, maybe like the railings, sure, but I
Oh
didn't
my
expect it to go
God.
from like dry to be this high up.
Within a day.
Within hours, because I was here right before 5, and by like 6,
Within
5:30,
seconds, it was scary.
the way it is right now.
Where do you work?
HEB.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, did you ever think work would save your life, or
No, I
you probably
did not.
hated those
No,
early
yeah.
hours?
I was like, I'm here so early, but I'm glad I did.
I don't know what HEB is, but they need to give her a raise. Give her a raise. Because of reasons.
So agencies from all over are flying. I've seen the National Guard, local sheriffs, any helicopter basically available. I think they're flying up and down the Guadalupe River now, actively searching, hoping to rescue.
Of the roughly 237 people rescued on the first day, 167 were lifted out by helicopter. Many of them children from the flooded camps. State officials say the search won't stop, not during the day, not when the sun goes down, not until every missing person is found.
I think what's so astounding is just how high the debris mark is here.
Yeah.
That's 20 feet at least.
20 feet.
The water was not like that. The water was raging.
My birds are gone.
In a matter of 10 minutes, it went from there, maybe 15 minutes, went from there all the way to my deck, right there,
Mhm.
and another 5 minutes to get that way. But it was completely. I mean, I had 2 feet of water in my house.
About 4 months worth of rain fell in just 6 hours. The Guadalupe River
Goodness.
rose to nearly 30 feet, possibly the highest ever recorded. We don't know for sure because the gauge broke.
So the gate. Okay, wait a minute. I think you just said it.
Ever recorded. We don't know for sure because the gauge broke.
The gauge broke. No, this is scary.
You just see how the ground scoured from the force of the rapids of the water that ripped through here.
It
There were numerous
reshaped the
RVs,
land.
and they're all swept away. Sadly, one RV that was down there, that family was swept away. Amazingly, though, the owner of this campground, search and rescue teams were able to get door to door, and most people escaped.
Like the catastrophic flood of 1987, campers were caught off guard. It happened overnight with no real warning during a holiday weekend when families were sound asleep. The Guadalupe.
Where's the
The
governor?
worst
at?
case scenario because it's the holiday.
Absolutely. They were full. They have 14 reservations missing. I have 7. I have 6 people missing.
This is where little girls should be making memories on the.
This is his next video. Jonathan Petramala, where he focuses on the Camp Mystic. It's a Texas tragedy. I'm gonna make sure I hit the thumbs up. I subscribe to his channel. I actually am enjoying his content and his updates. Being boots on the ground like this. This is real journalism, you all. You're just showing what's happened. You're talking to the locals. You're getting their perspective. He clipped in other videos, gave credit to the creators of the content. This is how it's done here. This is something else. My heart breaks just knowing that there was campgrounds full of children, and some are still missing. And this video was 5 days ago, so I'm going from oldest to newest video to like the most recent update. That's how I'm showing these videos here. So it's from oldest to newest. Just in case you guys are wondering the chronological order of this. It's not all over the place. It's just from the oldest to the newest video. All right, let's get to it.
4th of July, not where police dogs search for their bodies in a flash flood no one saw coming. The Guadalupe River didn't rise, it ripped lives apart.
You got chainsaws, all shapes and sizes, varieties, shovels, some recovery tools.
Volunteers joined hundreds of state, local, and federal crews combing miles of devastation.
I'll be honest, if I had a loved one missing, these are the kind of people I would want searching for them. Very well prepared, very well organized, and just willing to do whatever needs to be done.
The missing could be anywhere, in the treetops, in the brush, or buried beneath what the rivers left behind. A drone can show you the damage, but only down here can you hear what the water took.
When this happened?
I was sleeping.
So I want to correct the number that I gave earlier. There were hundreds of people missing so far. 27 girls and staff members carried away from a Christian summer camp. I'm assuming they're presuming those to be deceased, or I mean, if they were able to give a count, there's no telling what condition they're in if they're alive. I want to hope for the best, though. I just don't understand where's the dam at on this, or is this just a river that they allow to have free flowing here? Like, if you guys were to look at the photos of the Texas flooding, it's reported to be one of the worst in a century. Worst case scenario on meteorological events. I'm still curious as to, okay, is there a dam somewhere that's supposed to be holding some of this water back, or at bay, or along the river itself? What is the governor doing other than trying to kiss the ass of a president? Like, you have real problems going on in your state. The last thing you want to say is anything that would exalt any mere mortal to a godlike status. Don't do that. And I know a few content creators are reporting it, in that sense where it's, well, you go against God, this is what happens. As a Christian, there are ways where God does get our attention, but I want to keep it on just a humane level here. There are kids that lost their lives here. They didn't ask for this. People lost their lives and they didn't ask for this. So, I mean, the governor's a clown there in Texas, but this is a bigger problem. Don't worry about what's going on in Washington, D.C. Worry about your own state. Hopefully that's a message to all governors. Don't sit here and worry about what's going on in Washington, D.C. with the president. If you're not tending to your own state, now your own constituents are hurting. And you didn't give any precaution, no warnings, no nothing in place. I would have evacuated people on these rivers just out of precaution. And it turns out we've evacuated everybody. Nothing happened. Great. But look what happened. This is insane. Okay, let's get back to it. I just had to give this spiel.
In there when it happened. So how are you here?
No, you shouldn't play with God either.
That's a good question.
But it's hard to celebrate survival when death is still in the water.
What's even more tragic is I'm talking to Christian about how he was able to survive the flash flood. A body was found floating in the river.
The headlines can't keep up with the death toll, and neither can we. From July 4th to 5th, it kept going. From Hunt to Kerrville to Georgetown and Burnett.
It scared the hell out of me.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't believe this happened. And there was no warnings.
This was supposed to be a holiday weekend in the Texas Hill Country. Instead, we've watched families lose everything. And now the search for the missing is what matters. This is what's really happening out here.
This has got to be just the service you don't want to, but you feel you have to.
Absolutely, yeah. I think for anybody that can relate to this feeling, it's a terrible deal. So whatever we do to help.
Over 850 people have been rescued, but 48 hours later, the hope of finding more alive is fading. This is Camp Mystic, a beloved girls' summer camp tucked into the Texas Hill Country. Early July 4th, as floodwaters surged through the Guadalupe, at least 24 campers were swept away. Counselors scrambled to save the rest. Search teams now stretch from just outside of Hunt to Kerrville on foot, on horseback, and by helicopter. Volunteers, law enforcement, and locals are scouring the valley mile by mile. In and around Hunt, the damage is some of the worst. Homes ripped from their foundations. But in the center of town, one old...
See, this is why, and I say this because I've covered content involving, in my opinion, perceived to be up-and-coming rising cults. Almost looking for content, looking for something to do. Here's something you can do. Go to Texas and help find people. Especially being that some of these cult leaders are from there. Go to your home state and help find people. I don't care what you call yourself, activist, advocate, independent journalist, investigator, whatever you call yourself. You don't need to go out and create nonsense for content. You can just look in your own backyard and see what's going on and talk about it. This is very tragic. No warning. There has to be some sort of a dam or barrier along the river put in place now to try to keep, you can't control the weather if it's 24 inches of rain that comes down plus and you're not expecting it. That has to be a way to ensure that this doesn't happen again. What is the governor spending all the money on?
building stood firm. It saved the life of its young owner.
And I woke up around 3 a.m. to the storm, to super loud thunder. And originally I thought someone broke into the house because I didn't even know it was supposed to be raining, let alone a flood coming. So I swing my feet over the bed, and my feet hit the floor. I'm like, that's water. I walked in here from that door right there, and there used to be a wooden deck right there, but through that door. And I looked to my left, and I saw that was just ripped up, and the water was just flooding in from there.
So at that point, how high was the water when you first got up?
It was about like a little bit higher than my ankle.
So I mean, at that point, I mean, that's scary, but it's not.
I was like still confused, like what's going on.
So then you open the door and a flood of water just rushes in.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to close it. I don't know why, but yeah, I started walking back this way, and by that time there was furniture in the way right here that I was having to climb over.
And I'm looking here in your kitchen. I mean, the water definitely.
Yeah, it got up to the ceiling.
Oh man.
Oh, I'm back in here, and then that wooden box credenza thing was in, or was in this room. I had the air mattress in here, so I threw
It's
all my
on
stuff
the
mattress. I was trying
foundation
to get on the air mattress, but at this point,
and the walls and everything. He has a beautiful home, structurally sound, but man, he's definitely gonna have to get a lot of work done to that. I would literally gut it, everything out. Just keep the foundation and just start afresh. Huh, man. God definitely had his hand on this young man. He kept him and protected him and allowed him to wake up.
like above my head. I had to think of how to get out of here. I tried opening the door wouldn't open. And I noticed the window was broken, so I swam through the window.
Not climbed, you swam.
Yeah, the water was high enough to where I was like standing like this against the window, and I could pick myself up. I picked up my feet, and I went through the feet first. Climbed onto the meter box, and I was standing up here for like 3 hours, and the water was up to my knees at that point while I was standing up there.
You couldn't quite get up onto the roof?
No, I tried. And you can see where I tried to pull on the gutter, and the gutter bent. I couldn't get up there, so I was standing here until the water finally started going down, which was like 3 hours later.
As far as warnings, Christian said the first
Wow,
emergency
look
alert
at that.
came long after it was too late.
There wasn't any sort of warning about the flood until it was already happening. Like I was standing up there, and I got a severe flood warning on my phone when I was holding on there. So I was like, no shit, really.
Across the region, I kept hearing the same thing. People waking up to water with no warning. This was Burnett, Texas, July 5th. Another rain bomb, another watershed overwhelmed overnight.
What seems to tie all of these floods together is that they happened at night, and everyone says they didn't know they were coming. There were no warnings. When Hamilton Creek left its banks, for instance, and rushed towards these homes, folks say there were no emergency responders banging on their doors. There were no alerts.
I said, yeah, it's raining. So I was laying on the couch, and I got out, and as soon as I put my feet down, I said, whoa. I mean, it was,
Wow.
it was way up there. I mean, it was, and then it kept getting higher, and I heard some popping going on. I said, oh, shoot, the electricity. So I just opened the window and busted the screen out and jumped out. So.
And how deep the water was, I guess,
Yeah,
waist deep?
it's right here.
That has to be.
That's
And I had to go
something
real slow because, I mean, it was slick. And then the currents, I mean, they were just.
Fortunately, the woman who lived in this apartment was not home when this flash flood happened. You can imagine
Thank
what
God.
might happen if she was. There is one concern, though. If this flood, combined with every other flood, might be forgotten. But there are communities like this throughout Texas, and they need help. Everything that were inside these apartments, all the clothes, the furniture, electronics, are ruined. They're lost. And in many cases, so are people's cars. The water was up to the dash.
Everything. I mean, all of this is mud.
Oh, don't fall.
All of this
Oh
is
no.
mud.
Different
have
towns,
to
different
leave,
rivers, same nightmare. The
Oh
alerts
my
came too
God.
late or not at all.
Well, I'm just worried that you guys might get lost in the shuffle.
Oh, I'm sure
You
that
know.
might happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I told him, don't worry about it.
That's a high possibility.
You stay with us.
It's going to come down to
You'll
neighbors
be
helping
fine.
neighbors.
Yes.
Friends helping
Because,
friends.
I mean, they're still waiting. I would have been sitting over there waiting on the Red Cross, and they still haven't showed up. So, I mean, it's.
Mike at least was able to save his
Oh,
cat, but
kid.
nothing else. Since 1913, according to the National Weather Service, 20
Oh my
tropical
God,
cyclones
look
or
at
their
that.
remnants have dumped at least 15 inches of rain across inland Texas. This weekend was no different. One of the catalysts, Tropical Storm Barry. Its remnants helped fuel this entire disaster.
How a catastrophe like this happens is actually pretty easy to explain. It's because, quite frankly, the Guadalupe River Valley is one of the deadliest river valleys in the entire country. And here's why. The Guadalupe River itself comes from underground springs. So the force of the water typically isn't too strong. That's why you see here
Oh,
close to
wow.
Head Springs, right across from Camp Mystic and Hunt, Texas. It's very narrow, very shallow. Further downstream around Kerrville, it gets deeper because of years of erosion. But typically, this is what you see. But the entirety of the hill country here sits on a limestone bedrock. So this limestone is very hard,
Nice.
very porous, and it doesn't
Yeah.
absorb water like a sponge. Instead, it just passes water through. That's why this entire area is so prone and susceptible to flash flooding. Then you add in the worst case scenario. You have about a foot of rain falling right over the two forks of the Guadalupe River, and that water rushes and rises so quickly
This
that
is
people
something
just
else.
didn't have enough time to respond. And that's how campers were literally washed away out of their bunks.
Oh
Over
my
50
God.
people, including children, are dead. Dozens more missing, and the search continues now 24/7 as a dog with officers just alerted that there might be something in this clump of trees
Oh
right in front of Camp
God.
Mystic. So
Oh
now
no.
other officers are scrambling to cut through and pick through this mess of debris and tree limbs to see what may be in there.
No one saw it coming. But now that we have, what excuse do we have to let it happen again?
Exactly. There you go.
I'm Jacob Rascone, live in Kerrville. Last week, 750 girls were having fun at Camp Mystic. This morning, just moments ago.
This is another video. This is the news, KHOU 11, reporting on, this is as of 5 days ago, the campers.
The devastating update from Camp Mystic that 27 total, including counselors and girls, are confirmed dead, did not survive the devastating flooding. In a brief statement that they posted from Camp Mystic, once again, they say, our hearts are broken alongside families who are enduring this unimaginable tragedy. We're praying for them constantly. They go on to say they've been in communication with local and state authorities, tirelessly deploying extensive resources to search for those missing. They say they are deeply grateful for the outpouring of support from community, first responders, and officials at every level. For the first time, we're able to be live here right at the level of the Guadalupe. Behind me, you can see just how fast it's still moving after the historic flooding from Friday morning. You're seeing the bent trees, the broken trees, the debris off in the distance.
And having those underground springs now makes sense. And it definitely can enhance the speed, the velocity of the water moving. I mean, good grief. I'm just floored. I'm just floored. What is the governor going to do now to prevent this from happening again? I mean, if you're gonna try to go kiss the president's ring, at least ensure that you get all the funding you need to help set up barriers or something, or dams or something, to kind of prevent this from happening again. Build up walls, however you got to do it.
Including tarps and blankets, and we've seen clothing and roofs from tiles. There's a tank lodged there earlier on Friday. The river so ferocious that entire cabins and RVs and cars and homes were carried away. The number of dead officially is above 80. The next official update from investigators will come at 10 a.m. The number of rescued was up to 850 or so. And so, Steph, as we know that we'll be live here all morning long and continuing into tomorrow, we know that it's impossible really to describe the impact, which will be felt for years and years to come. Steph, over to you.
Yeah, Jacob, thank you.
I want to get to
Learning a
the
lot of
next
victims
video.
were not from there.
Sorry. Yeah.
Learning a lot of victims were not from there. They were from all.
Okay, this next video I wanted to get to. 11-year-old camper describes surviving the flooding. So they were actually able to speak with this little boy regarding his surviving the flood. It's very traumatic. These kids went through a lot, so they're going to need some counseling. So I hope the governor's prepared to set up those services as well.
All over the place, including California. 3 members of a family there in the San Francisco area. Neighbors say 52-year-old Mark Walker, 50-year-old Sarah, and their 14-year-old son Johnny missing as of this morning. Johnny's high school scheduling a prayer vigil for tomorrow.
And an 11-year-old from San Diego is speaking out after surviving those catastrophic floods in Central Texas.
We're going to play a chunk of an interview here with Kalen Kubena, because he's remarkably well-spoken and composed for an 11-year-old. And he explains that he's grateful to be home safe with his family, but that he is worried about others. Take a listen.
Some counselor from the other rooms which got flooded came into our cabin and said there was a flash flood. Now, we didn't actually know those one because we were higher up, like more elevated. But eventually we looked outside and we saw like an ocean out there. It's just like completely destroying everything. We saw like whole cabin just floating down, and that's when we knew like things were getting actually real out there. Like we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster crisis. So once we got to the business office and the sun started to rise, or it just got more daytime, we saw the river fully, and it was just, we instantly knew we gotta go. This is not safe. Because the way we get into our camp, there's 3 different ways, but mostly we go through on top of a dam, and that dam was just completely flooded at the moment. Counselors, they were amazing during this. They had wise decisions as a leader. They took us to safety when they needed to. They made quick decisions. They risked their lives for us, and I think everybody should be grateful for that.
Oh, wow. So this is the Ruidoso floods that were triggered or that occurred in New Mexico, triggering chaos. Another river that swells up to 20 feet. in 30 minutes for this based on this video. This is the Indian Express. And make sure you hit the thumbs up. So make sure you guys check out the content on the channel. I just did a Google search of trying to get in information about these flash floods that happened in Texas and now in New Mexico. It's so much going on. It's just, yeah, there's no reason for anybody to be bullying someone on YouTube when this is information that the public needs to know about and updates that could be made here. Look at this. Oh my good Lord. $20 feet in 30 minutes. Woo! That side by side is something else.
Oh man. Oh my gosh! Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god!
Oh, a whole house.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Cheese! He said cheese! Oh, the house! Oh, the house! Oh, the house! Shit! That house is getting bro.
Oh no. Dude, get out of the way. That's crazy work. Look at this. This is nature, you all. This is crazy. Can you imagine this? Hey, can you imagine this? Like you know, you're saying to yourself, it sounds like it's raining and storming. And then next thing you know, there is a 20-foot flood coming your way with debris and whole houses in it and trees. This is the power of nature. Yep. Let's not make God mad, okay? Because this is something else. It just shows the power of nature and how ferocious and deadly something like a flash flood can be. You can't swim in that. You can't see what's going on. You're just kind of flowing with it. And, you know, you got all that debris in there. If you are able to survive being caught up in a flash flood like this, God has his hand on your life. Because if it's not you being swept down and being injured with that, you can be crushed by the debris. This is something else. This is in New Mexico, the Rio Ruidoso River. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey, go right to the house. I gotta go. I want you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Up to. I want you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Up to.
Oh boy. Okay, that was all I wanted to show with that, with the videos, you guys. I want to switch over right quick to this article. In the live, we're going to be going over Tommy G's new video he posted about Kenneth Copeland, evil televangelist. So tune in for that. But This is an article. FEMA deleted the Texas camp's buildings from flood map, and here's a report on this. Federal regulators approve appeals to remove buildings from the 100-year flood hazard map of Camp Mystic, reducing regulatory oversight in a high-risk floodplain in Texas before torrential water struck the site. The AP has reported in 2011 the Christian girls' camp on the banks of the Guadalupe River had been included in a special flood hazard area in a FEMA flood map, which included requiring flood insurance and stricter construction regulations. But following appeals, FEMA changed the flood maps in 2013, 2019, and 2020 to exclude 30 buildings across the sites, which were part of the camp hit by the flood that killed at least 27 people, including campers, counselors, and the camp owner, AP reported. FEMA told the AP that the flood maps were only snapshots that show minimum standards for floodplain management and were not predictions of where it would flood. So I take it off. More than 130 people across multiple counties have been confirmed dead in the flash floods that hit Texas on July 4, while Camp Mystic has confirmed that at least 27 girls and counselors were among them. The AP report raises questions over why a camp responsible for children's safety received exemptions from flood regulations. Experts cited by the agency said that this would have lessened the oversight of the camp as it expanded in a hazardous floodplain. So the camp should be bearing some responsibility then. Because of oversight. So this is what I always say. You're either going to spend the money up front or you're going to spend the money on the back end when you catch all these lawsuits. This is the stupidity sometimes of those who are full of greed. You end up catching it on the back end with the lawsuits. You don't think these 27 families, these 27 girls that lost their life and the camp founder, the counselors, you don't think their families are going to file lawsuits? Now that this report is out, pointing some legal liability to the camp and to FEMA. They should have never allowed them to be taken off the map. I don't care how many appeals you go through. You're trying to save money on the front end. You don't want oversight. So what? No one cares. There needs to be accountability. How else do you hold people accountable? So if you don't want regulatory oversight, then you can catch it with some lawsuits on the back end where an investigation is going to happen either way. That's going to show whatever legal liability that the camp has for not doing more to safeguard these children. They want to come to their camp. Now, no one's going to want to come to their camp. So they've done all this for nothing. Because who's going to want to send their children to this damn camp that, basically has been eliminated by itself with the flood? But it unfortunately took lives with it. So now they're going to catch the lawsuits. This is insane. The camp had been designated by FEMA as being in a special flood hazard area on its national flood insurance map for Kirk County in 2011. This indicated a 1% chance of flooding, meant it needed flood insurance and faced stricter regulations on future building projects. Yeah, it sounds like they were just trying to avoid the oversight and the money, cutting corners. Yeah, this is what happens when you do that. After an appeal, FEMA amended the county's flood map in 2013 to remove 15 of the camp's buildings from the hazard zone, which were part of Camp Mystic Guadalupe. This keeps bouncing around like this. Destroyed by last week's flood, according to AP. FEMA also removed 15 more structures in 2019 and 2020 from the designation located on nearby Camp Mystic Cypress Lake, a sister site, which was also damaged in the floods. The agency added Syracuse University Associate Professor Sarah Prale, who reviewed the amendments for AP, said it was a mystery why proactive steps to move structures away from the risk were not taken. Experts told the AP that the Camp Mystic's request to amend the FEMA map could have been to avoid requirement to carry flood insurance, lower insurance premiums, or allow new structures under less costly regulations. See, when you try to cut corners, God has a way of sitting you down. What should never happen is if you're taking innocent lives with you. They didn't think about these children's lives or the possibility of a flash flood before they sat here and went through all of those costly appeals with attorneys and stuff to get removed, just so they can avoid some insurance and premiums. But no, they'll lose more money on the back end when they catch the lawsuits. However, FEMA said in a statement that flood maps show minimum standards for floodplain management. My apologies. I don't know why this keeps skipping around like this. It's giving me everything but what I want to see and need to see. Hold on 1 second. Bear with me. Okay. Floodplain management in the highest risk areas for insurance, but were not predictions of where it will flood and do not show where it has flooded before. Meanwhile, Chris Stubing, executive director of the Texas Floodplain Management Association, said it would be difficult to call the floodplain management a failure. This was because the rain and flooding that hit Kirk County was a historic high, and officials would have thought they were following existing regulations, but then Mother Nature set a new standard. Well, then perhaps you shouldn't have people fighting to get off of a map because of some flooding insurance, and should just focus on the safety and protection of all of their guests and campers there. So children's lives were lost, and no one takes kindly to that. And the mere thought that they may have tried to do this to avoid paying more insurance premiums, all it did was make them, put them more into the limelight. And the accountability should be put at the forefront. Hold them accountable. They should not want to cut corners or do anything that's going to help them avoid costly, regulations and making sure the buildings are up to code or anything like that. You should want, you're building buildings next to a river. Get the flood insurance and get over it. Like, that's it. Just get the daggone insurance. You would rather be safe than sorry. But one thing they shouldn't go around talking about is our thoughts and prayers with the family. Now you're going to pay us this money when we sue you. Because, there are certain things that could have been avoided, but they never took the time to discover what measures they could have truly had in place to help safeguard these girls more, because they're too busy appealing, trying to get taken off of a map. So they should be held accountable. Sue them. All of them. Everybody needs to sue them. Sue them. And then let that play out in the court of law. How about that? All right, y'all. That's all I have. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. We will be keeping an eye on the updates, especially with the fact that the FEMA had removed Camp Mystic off of the flood map. So we'll definitely be keeping up with that. I do foresee lawsuits coming through the pipeline. So until then, you guys, make sure you hit the like button and share and subscribe. Thank you all so much for your support here in the Lady Luck Club as we reach our goal of hitting 50,000 supporters by July 31st in the year of our Lord 2025. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.